Hey guys, Brady here. I was pondering wait a minute. Yep, I shaved. I had to do it, but that's fine. It'll come back. So, we gotta talk about the 3DS. I'm sorry, you have to remind yourself that the 3DS existed. The 3DS was this thing back in 2011 and onward that we got a slew of amazing handheld games. I'm talking Super Mario 3D World, no, Super Mario 3D Land, Star Fox 64 3D, Ocarina of Time 3D, A Link Between Worlds, Kirby Triple Deluxe, Kirby Planet Robobot, Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright for some reason, Rabbids Rumble, which I already did a review on, Yokai Watch, of course, because I did a review on that game as well, and of course, introducing us to new IPs as well, like Bravely Default and giving us a new Mario Kart, giving us Mario Tennis, giving us Mario Golf, giving us a dumbed down version of Mario Sports Mix, Mario Sports Superstars. Those were good stuff. However, in 2018, the signs of the 3DS's failures were starting to show. Well, the signs of the 3DS's death was about to show. And so, naturally, we were all scared and somewhat happy because the 3DS didn't need to exist in the first place. Just kidding. But at least there were 4 games that there were 3 games that capped off the 3DS's lifespan. Kirby's a really bland port of Kirby's Epic Yarn, Yokai Watch 3, Not That It Matters, and Persona Q2, New Cinema Labyrinth. But the one thing that you may notice is that the 3DS does not have a Wario game on it. Well, it has ports of the first 3 Wario Land games. Wario Land, Mario Land 3, Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land, Wario Land 2, and Wario Land 3. However, no Wario Land 4. Maybe it was in the ambassador certificate that you got if you were a Nintendo brand ambassador. However, in 2018, we were graced with the gloriousness that is WarioWare Gold. So WarioWare Gold, among other 3DS games, was revealed at the March 3rd Nintendo Direct. No, March 8th, I believe. One of the two, which was also responsible for bringing us Mario & Luigi Bros. Inside Story Remastered, and it also brought us the remastered port of Luigi's Mansion, and it also showed off ARMS again. Yeah, sure, we need to see more of ARMS. Piece of crap. And, of course, we got the introduction of 2 big things, the Octo expansion and Super Smash Bros. For Switch. But we were also graced with Crash Bandicoot on Switch and Undertale on Switch. But for the most part, this was the only good thing to come out of the 3DS part of the Direct. Well, this and Mario and Luigi, but that's beside the point. So, we were on the edge of our seats, waiting for this game to come out. So, we sat down in our recliner chairs, and the game began. So, and when we completed it, there was nothing else to do. People gave this game great reviews, actually, really good. This is definitely a big step up from Game & Wario. However, I did like Game & Wario, so, yeah. Then again, WarioWare Gold is the real return to form. The 3DS has a lot of return to forms, Link Between Worlds and Kirby Triple Deluxe. those among with those games return to the real thing that happened, the real genre that they were good enough to begin with. All right, so why is this game good? Let's answer that question. So, we obviously have to address the elephant in the room, voice acting. And I said that crystal clear as much as I could. Voice acting is in a WarioWare game. A rarity in any game, actually. A rarity in Pokemon, a rarity in Mario, a rarity in Zelda, a rarity in Kirby. But yes, all those respective games got their own cartoons with horrible voice acting. But this game, honestly, is no different. You hear Wario, he's like, "Hey, sure, I'm the best! It's pizza time." And then other characters, too. Like 9-Volt finally speaks English instead of just going, "Game over," like he did in the previous games. He finally talks, like, "The algebraic equations must be defeated! Time to fight!" So let's talk about the stories in order, where they appear. So, of course, before you go on with the entirety of every one of the stories in this game, you have to get introduced to the game modes. There are up to 3 game modes. Well, 4 if you count Blow. Oh boy, that sounded really wrong. The other one that we don't want to talk about on this channel. Yep. Alright, so there's MASH, which is obviously WarioWare Mega Micro Games. Twist, which is Twisted. Touch, which is Touched. And sadly, no DIY trace, because you can't create your own microgames, which is one of the greatest selling points of DIY. And it's not here, which is really upsetting. And yes, there are returning microgames as well. And yes, half of them are new, but most of them are returning. Deal with it, okay? Good. Let's move on. All right, so there are multiple stories in this game. A lot, actually. There is Jimmy T, who of course sounds like we want him to... who of course sounds like how we want him to sound, like a cool, fresh guy who is great at dancing, which is what his career was in the first place, except in the previous game, Game & Wario, where he went skiing with a bunch of girls and one bear. If you've never played Game & Wario on the Wii U, you don't know what I'm talking about. And here he's back to dancing. No felines this time. Actually, yes, there's only one in his afro, obviously, because you all know he is the real kitten magnet. And so next we have Mona, who wants to dress up for her party. And she's like, "I want to be super cool like Wario." Are you kidding me? Well, she does confess that she loves Wario a lot. To an extent where I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So, yeah. And so, we move on to the next story, which is, it's Dribble and Spitz, yes. So they're traveling through space in their taxi, and then Spitz is like, "We gotta take down the aliens! Let's do it with the space bazooka!" And yes, the space bazooka is back, not looking like it does in Game & Wario, which is where it first appeared. So yeah, it's actually called the Octo Bazooka now, it's called the Octo Bazooka. And so they take down the aliens, moving on to the next story, which is 5-Volt, a character who actually made her first appearance in Game & Wario, as did the Octo Bazooka. It wasn't called the Octo Bazooka in Game & Wario, but it was called something different. 5-Volt here, you may remember her from Gamer, that one mode where it was like, you gotta stay hidden, or else, you gotta keep your game hidden, under your bed, or else FNAF. Do. And Gamer is actually in this game. Yeah, the Gamer mode is actually in the game. Get it? It's called something different, though. It's called, like, Freaky Gamer or Scary Game. I don't know. Something like that. And her job is to look at an infomercial for a frying pan. And so, in the end, she becomes the Incredible Hulk, basically. And she can lift basically anything. Alright, moving on to the twisted stories. Twist stories. I'm sorry, not twisted stories. The stories that involve the game mode Twist. So, we have Ashley, obviously sounding like we want her to sound. But Red is something different. He sounds way too off tone. He sounds like a freaking geek gamer. If you listen to him, that is. And Ashley has to go on a quest to take down the Munch Monster or something. I don't know if that's what it's called, but the next story is Dr. Krygor, who is in the woods, apparently, looking for, I don't know, something. But as he comes across Mike, that one robot that we never hear about, and he's got a voice too, and he actually does sound like a robot. Beep, beep, boop, boop. Anyways, he also comes across another servant that he used to have, however, he betrayed her. It's a cleaning robot, obviously. So, he escapes, along with Mike. Moving on to the next story. This time it's 18 volt, and he actually has his own story, which is cool. So he comes across another new character named 13 Amp. I'm guessing she's 13 years old. And so they have a rap battle of all things. Yeah, sure, Nintendo is great at making rap music. Certainly not something that other rappers are good at. I'm only kidding. And then he's like, I'm in the third grade or something. I think that's what he said. And he's like, beaten by a third grader. Yeesh. All right, next story is Penny. Penny. She got her introduction in Smooth Moves. I believe so. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that I'm not. All right. So, and she's trying to find a cure for Dr. Krygor. And, because his stomach has been invaded with these weird-looking blob creatures. And that's basically Penny's story. Next is the touched games. There's Kat and Anna, who want to pass the secret ninja test, but unfortunately, they have to eat their way through the ninja test. But it turns out it isn't a ninja test, it's just an eating contest. So I believe next is Young Cricket. Yeah, Young Cricket and Master Mantis, who, believe it or not, actually got a hairstyle change. And so Young Cricket must pass the test of karate-ness and whatnot. But instead, they go to the amusement park. Simply something that the Karate Kid could have accomplished, right? No. All right, and so they get on Precious Prancers, having a good time, and that's it. So then there's 9 Volt's story, where he actually is in school finding out all these math equations, and then Frank, of all things, I didn't even know he was his pet, but Frank is his pet, apparently. So Frank is like, you need to, and this is how he actually sounds. This is how he actually talks. What is 7 plus 60? That's literally how he sounds. Nicely done. And so they go on a quest inside of a video game to stop these math equations from taking over the universe. And that's it. And then the final story is Orbulon. He's hunting down pigs, abducting them, so he could make hamburgers. Pigs don't make hamburgers. Orbulon's an alien. He doesn't understand anything. So, yeah. And then we get a little bit of a break from the stories, and you get to move on to two other stories, where you get, of course, the characters that you remember from the previous stories. You get the first mix of stages. The first mixed up stage involves Mona, Kat and Anna, Young Cricket and Master Mantis, Jimmy T, Mike, and Dr. Krygor, and Penny. where they do the disco, go to the disco place and have a good time. And then there's the next one, which has Ashley, Red, Dribble, and Spitz, 9-volt, 18-volt, and 5-volt. And also Mike is there as well. And then there's also Frank, who has a new style of microgames, which is basically bite-sized microgames. But you're maybe wondering, what's the final level? Well, Wario tricked you, obviously, because he's a trickster. Haha. And he stole the urn to become Wario Deluxe. And so it's up to you to take down his microgames. And basically anything goes in this stage. So, of course, another new character comes out of nowhere named Lulu, and she tries to take down Wario along with you. And the final boss is actually kind of intense. I think I actually beat it on the first try, but hopefully you guys will too. So, that's the end of WarioWare Gold. So in the end, WarioWare Gold is definitely something that happened and something that we will cherish for good. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong, but there's better things than this. It's kind of like what you think you're going to expect. It's a celebration for WarioWare. What did we expect? I mean, then again, this is definitely a perfect package that you could easily get for about a few dollars. Enough said. So I could fully recommend WarioWare Gold for 3DS. Dang, this is a long video. 16 minutes. Alright, see you guys next time for something different. I don't know what I'm going to do. But be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. Brady's Bell Bunch, you know the gist. Become a member of that today. See you guys next time. Sayonara, peeps. Take care.